best way I can get more subs is to show the cat. So here's the cat. Say hi, cat. Meow. Okay, that was a cat. It's a Friday. It's 7:30ish. I'm using the good camera. I'm not sure why. Oh, yeah, because I wanted to show you a picture. And it's 50 degrees and sunny with high winds. Tomorrow is free comic book day, so head on over to your friendly local comic book store, game store, whatever that carries comic books, and pick up a huge bag of free comic books and support literacy. All right, so continuing with my theory that there's only 5-6 topics we talk about / the big board from Cabin in the Woods. There's a tweet floating around about how D&D is violence without the justification of violence, so the entire game is about violence and characters seeking out violence to justify their own violence or simply accepting the fact that they're murderers. 1, 2, 3, 4 uses of the word violence to, maybe it's too early. D&D is violent for the sake of being violent, and if you play D&D, you're being violent for the sake of being violent, and if you do not address the violence for the sake of violence, then you're a murderer, or something like that. Okay. D&D is violent. And in order for D&D to work, we need to take out the violence and make it more of a role-playing game. Okay. I mean, I could get on my high horse and say all sorts of horrible things about that statement and how it's wrong and blah, blah, blah. But, that tends to get me in trouble. Case in point yesterday. So let's do this a different way. Let's do something different, which is why I turned on the camera. Let's perform an experiment. Let's take the violence out of D&D and see what's left. All right. So I got my player's handbook right here. You can see it's well loved and it's got stickers and marks and drawings on it. And it's pretty much the same player's handbook I've had since this came out in 2015. All right. So right now, violence. There's a giant being attacked by a lady. I think it's a lady. It might be a guy. I don't know. With an axe and violence. And on the back, oh, look, we got a really angry dog. Violence. All right, so first, this cover's got to go, right? Let's replace the cover with something completely non-violent that relatively is not offensive. Bam! Problem solved. All right, let's go through the book. Take out all the violence. Well, that's got to go. Introduction we can keep. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, violence. That's got to go. Pretty much all the art has to go. So that's about what? 20% of the book? Okay. Choose a race. Well, we don't call them races anymore. We call them heritages or ancestries now because the word race is racist. So that's got to go. Choose a class. Do we still call them classes or have we changed that name as well? Profession. Let's change that to profession. So that's 2 paragraphs. Stats. I don't think stats would change, but the bonuses would definitely change. What do I need a bonus for to hit and damage for if we're taking the violence out? Or what do I need extra hit points for if we're taking the violence out? So those need to go. And of course, again, all the art needs to go. Even this. There's a Bruno Battlehammer. He's got an axe. He's looking like he was in a fight. So yeah, that's got to go. Okay. Armor class. We don't need armor class because we're not having any more violence. So that can go. Levels. Sure, we could keep levels. Races. We're not calling them races. Now we're calling them heritages. Obviously, any ability that gives us bonus hit points, bonus saving throws, bonuses to hit, bonuses to damage, resistance to types of damage, like a tiefling being resistant to fire or a dwarf being resistant to poison, that's got to go because we're never going to encounter that. So, and the stat bonuses have got to go because they changed that to the new just add +2 whatever you want. So that's got to go. We could keep the innate abilities because I do like the new rule for innate abilities that they put in Mordecaians. I don't know if that goes for backwards compatible to characters too. If you don't know, let's look at, Dro's Darkness. It used to be you could use it and then you had to take a long rest. And then they changed it to you could use it a number of times equal to your proficiency modifier, and then you could have to take a rest before it recharges, which means instead of getting the whatever it is once, you get it twice at first level. And I like that because it's slowly more progressing, because proficiency bonus doesn't really go up that often. It's like once every 4 levels, but still it's I actually I like that one. Oh no, I like a thing from, so all this would have. Is that a mouse in that picture? Is that a computer mouse? Sure looks like a computer mouse. I think it's supposed to be a necklace, but it sure looks like a computer. Anyways, it doesn't matter because all the art has to go because the art is violent. So, and since we're going to boil down characters and get rid of any of this stuff that has to do with hits, damages, bonus, whatever, bonus resistance. Yeah, that's probably 4 pages worth of information we could narrow down. Again, violent art. We need to replace the violent art with something non-violent. Classes. Profession. We've changed the name to profession, I guess. And barbarian, a fierce warrior of primitive background who can enter a battle rage. Well, no need to be a fierce warrior who can enter into a battle rage because the violence in D&D is far too violent for the sake of violent. Then we need to get rid of the violence to make D&D the game it was supposed to be. So, Barbarian, you're gone. Bard, well, I guess you can stay around Bard. You just lose any of your abilities that do anything with affecting the outcome of dice rolls, which basically means you're just a guy playing music. Cleric. Well, we could still keep clerics because they have other things to do besides cure wounds. So we can keep clerics. Druid, yeah. Fighter, you got to go. Monk, you're gone. Paladin, gone. Ranger, gone. Rogue, gone because stealing is bad. Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard, sure, you just lose all your combat spells and you're just basically trumped up entertainers. So yes, all this bonus to hit stuff, rage, extra hit points, extra damage, anything to do with violence has to go. So, and half the classes have to go. We're only keeping like Bard and Casters. Basically, Casters are all that left because, if you take the fighting away from a fighter, he's just a farmer, right? And if you take the backstabbing and crime away from a rogue, he's just a farmer. So basically we have Bard, Casters, and Farmer are our 3 classes that are available. And we can do Casters because there's plenty of things a caster can do that are not violent. Clerics has got a ton of stuff to do and they could never... old clerics, look, all their thing was healing and buffing. I wouldn't need healing as much because no one's getting hurt because there's no violence in the game anymore. But, somebody could still stub their toe moving a piano, I suppose. So we'd still need a cleric for something and to diagnose if you're sick and to, fireworks for parties and show, yeah. So, yeah, the character creation system would be way smaller. Obviously, this guy, fighter, you're completely out of work. So, yeah, we're getting rid of all this. All this is gone. Yeah, all this. Yeah, this is what... almost 100 pages. Background and personality, we can keep that. Just get rid of anything that gives you bonus violent equipment. Like some of these backgrounds give you a bonus sword or a bonus club or whatever. Those are got to go. Number violence, right? We're making D&D the way it was supposed to be with absolutely no violence. So this, gone. We're going to save a lot of money because the art's gone. The new player's handbook won't have any art except for maybe pictures of the most non-violent, harmless thing we can think of. So, yeah. So the backgrounds would stay, but we just kind of shave them down because we'd get rid of like things like, I would die to recover an ancient relic of my faith that was lost ago. Well, death is harmful, and death could trigger things, so we've gotten rid of death. So yeah, so there's probably another 50 pages we could shave off. Oh, armor gone. We don't need that. That's 2-3 pages we can shave off. Weapons gone. We don't need weapons anymore, right? Because there's no more violence. We don't want to be murderers, right? We want D&D to be safe. And since we're being safe, do we really need adventuring equipment? What kind of equipment would we need if the world can't harm us? Torches, I guess, still? Because darkness is still a thing unless we're getting rid of darkness too, because I don't want to feel like my character can't do something that... Yeah, you're right. Darkness has to go. So, yep, the entire equipment section is gone. Feats. Any feat that has to do anything with combat, damage, healing, saving throws, gone. Which would reduce the amount of thieves to like 2 pages. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot thinner. This section we would still keep, though anything about combat or saving throws would go. The adventuring section has to be completely rewritten to just the rules for social interactions. So, yeah, these pages would still stick. So we're up to, I think we're up to about 20 pages we're keeping. Chapter 9, combat. You're gone, Chapter 9. Goodbye. That's one. Yeah, you're gone. Spell casting. Well, we already said we're going to keep spells. We're just going to get rid of any spell that does damage. Really, we don't need spells to cure damage, because the most damage we're going to be taking now in this brand new world is maybe if we stub our toe, because it's completely safe. So yeah, most of this is gone. Yeah. Conditions. Yeah, well, we're getting rid of that. Gods. I don't know about that one. I mean, there's plenty of gods that aren't violent. Monsters. Well, we don't need a monster section because no more. Yeah. So, violence with no justification for that violence. So the entire game is about characters seeking violence out to justify their own violence or simply accept the status that they're murderers. So in order for D&D to work and to be the game it was meant to be, we have to get rid of all the violence. So starting from the cover, we are replacing every picture in the game with this. We're getting rid of all the combat, all the violence, all the hit points, saving throws, all that gone. So we've gone from... what is this? 300 pages? 314 pages to this, about 20 pages. So here's your new player's handbook. Here's all the art. Races have been replaced with heritages. Classes have been replaced with professions. Any class that has anything to do with combat, like berserker, barbarian, fighter, ranger, gone. Monk, martial artist, monk, gone. Your priests would be your normal, you could keep priests and wizards and sorcerers, and I guess warlocks, I don't know, would warlocks still make pacts with demonic entities in a world where there's no violence? Because according to this, if you play D&D, you're just glorifying in the violence, and you're basically secretly a murderer. Because there's nothing else going on in D&D for the past 40 some odd years except for violence. So what we need to do, right, is take out the violence and exemplify the role-playing. So we go from a 314-page book to a 20-page book. We get rid of all the classes that have anything to do with violence. We get rid of the equipment section. We get rid of most of the spells. We get rid of the monsters. We get rid of the combat section. We get rid of saving throws and conditions and hit points and all the things that we love about D&D, and we get rid of them to make it, because we're murderers. We're living out our murderer fantasy, and the only reason we play D&D is to be violent and justify our violence because we are violent. And the only way D&D can work is if we get rid of that, which leaves us with I am the OG GM, and I hope you appreciate this sarcasm. Like I said, I could have gone the other way and, defended Dungeons & Dragons and talk about, what all the good things Dungeons & Dragons represents and does. But nah, I decided to jump on the train. I give up. You win. Let's get rid of all the violence and make D&D perfectly safe. Because in the end, Kitty-chan rules the world. Have a good weekend.